it will successfully move the another folder keyshot, but I'm getting error.
Okay, you'll see at the
Doesn't
end.
okay.
So the examples that we are discussing is pull for a new file and print the contents of the file and move it to the archive location, and send the file name from the, that is the first example we have completed. Send the file name from the HTTP request and read the contents of a file, that is second example. And after reading the contents of the file, we'll go and write into a new file. That is what we are going to do. So now we are using the read option. So till now we have discussed till now we have discussed that every mule application will contain what mule application will contain a mule configuration file, and a mule configuration will contain a flow, right? Now in a mule project we may have more than one mule configuration files. So right click over here, new mule project.
Sure, not shared.
Share the screen.
Screen not shared.
Yeah, not shared.
Thought I shared the screen. So now I'm creating a new mule configuration file inside the project. Right click on the project, new. I'm creating a new mule configuration file inside the same project. That is file read and write is my example. So what I will do in this example is what I will do in this example is I'll try to send a file name, right, from the browser, and then I will read the file name. So how we are invoking our service from the browser in previous examples? How are we invoking?
Based on resource and
Right. So here now, if I want to send a file name here, how should I send? How should send a file name?
query parameters, Kishore.
Query parameters. Anyone know what is query parameters? So when a URL, if you want to send some key value pairs, that will be sent as a query parameters. So how to differentiate your URL and query parameters? Question mark, key name, and then its value. Just I am trying to introduce you what are the things available here, how to use that. That's it. Okay. So next. So if you want to accept the request from the browser, what should be your event source event processor?
Listener. HTTP.
Right? Is everyone clear with that?
Yes, Kishore.
Right? Hope everyone knows it. So let's go back and create a flow with HTTP listener. Create a flow with HTTP listener, and then try to read the query parameter, and then try to read the file with the help of file read operation. So let's use HTTP listener. So whatever the configurations I covered, I am not going to explain again and again. Okay, we'll concentrate more on the new things, old things you have to practice. Then you will get the things get habituated. I'm doing on my own. If you don't understand it, do let me know. I'm creating a connector configuration and I'm configuring the path. File read and write. That's it. Done. Is everyone clear with this? And now I want to add a logger and request received, right? And then I want to save it and then add a breakpoint here and run your example, right? That is what I'm going to do. So run or debug the file ops project. So what is our first task here? So what is our requirement? Anyone? What is our requirement?
Read and write into the file.
How to detail out the steps what you are going to do, then only you can understand the application that we are doing. Send the file name from URL, capture the file name in the URL, third one, after capturing the file name, use file read operation, write the data to a different file. Fifth one, transform the data and write. What are we going to cover from this? This is what we are going to learn from this example. This is what our agenda is. Right? Send the file name from the URL. So you know how to send? That is with the help of query parameter. How to send the query parameter? This way. And now you started the application. Just what you did, you added a listener and then printed a kept an logger and created a breakpoint. So what I want to do now, second point, we are working here to capture the file name. Let's wait for it. I was searching for something.
Kishore, that file location is not required here.
We'll come to that. We are only concentrating on the point 2, how to capture your file name.
Okay.
Trying to give something. So my application has started successfully. And now let's try to see where do you get this query parameter. How to capture the query parameter. So I prepared my request and I'm sending the request. Okay. Our example is file RW not high. Right now, from where we should get this file name? What are the yesterday discussion we had?
We get in attributes the file name.
We need to get either from the mule message section. In the mule message, you will get from payload or attributes. So the payload, do you have anything in the payload? No. What we have in the attributes. So let's copy the attributes and try to copy the attributes and then try to see in the attributes, do you have the file name? Where you have the file name? Where we have the file name? We have file name here, we have here, here, and then here. So it's part of the attributes. So however, yesterday we retrieved the file path from the file attributes. In the same way, from the query parameters, from here we can retrieve the in the attributes we can retrieve the file name. So this is the thing. In the attributes, you have query params, you have a key called file name, and it has a value. So in the right hand side of your debugger, you have mule data view expression. So here you can write your expression to retrieve your query params. So whatever you need, just go here and expand the things out in the attributes. So is it direct child of attributes? Yes. Inside that there is one key value pair. Okay, open that. What is the key name? File name. So use that navigation attributes, query parameters, and what is your name? File name. Click on evaluate button. What's the problem? Unable to resolve the reference. ATTRIBUT. Spelling wrong.
Attributes.
Attributes. Okay. Attributes. So this is the expression. Suppose sometimes this evaluate button will be disabled. At that, click on this add watch button so that this will be added over here. So the value expression will be showed over here. Okay. So now let's try to print this out. Let's try to print this out, and as well as let's try to use as part of a variable. So let's try to request received. I'm keeping this, and then try to add one more logger and print your this thing. Will it be print the value file name?
Okay, sure. We can add the f of x.
We have to enable the f of x. Then only it will become an expression. Otherwise, it will be a normal string. Like however file read was request received was printed, the same thing will be printed as a collection of characters. Enable f of x, this will become an expression and it will evaluate it and show you the result. And now we'll think about variable, how to store my file name inside a variable, right? So to create any variable in the MuleSoft, in the core module, we have set variable. So use set variable. I'm using two set variables. One set variable is for creating some dummy value, just to create some dummy variable to show you test variable name, test value here. Just I'm creating some dummy variable which is not relevant or any discussion. Just if you want to create some variable, you will use that set variable, provide the name and provide the value. If you have any expression, use that. Same way I'm doing same here. I'm using file name or name, whatever it may be. And then I'm using providing an expression and then I'm creating this out. And if you want to, now you created the variables. If you want to retrieve the variables, how do we retrieve? How do we retrieve? To retrieve the variables, we have, again, variable is part of what?
Mule
Mule
method,
event.
mule event. Sorry.
So mule event means always f of x. So message can be represented by message, payload is payload, attributes is attributes. In the same way, variables will be represented by short
Var,
word called vars.
var,
Vars dot,
file
see,
name.
it was showing the variables that you have created test, and vars dot file name. I'm printing these two. Now save the example and let's wait for the application to start. When you start the application, when you save the application will start automatically. So let me know if anyone don't understand here. So again, I am sending the request. Now the request is received. It will print the content as request received. And then what it printed? It printed my attribute value, whatever it has evaluated the expression. And again, what is this? Vars. Is there anything? Is there? What are the size of vars? 0. Now vars become 1. Why? The first set variable executed. So what is the variable name? Test. What is the value? Test value here. Same thing. What is the next variable I am creating? File name. This will become a key and the result of this expression will be stored as a value. Now your file name will become second variable. And now how to retrieve a variable? With the help of how variables are stored here? How variables are stored? Under vars. So retry with the help of vars dot. Salary created. Vars dot. So vars dot your variable name. Write the expression here and then see vars dot. What is my variable name? Test. And then I'm evaluating test value here. And what is my other variable? This is the advantage of debugging. You can, on your hand, you can enable it and you can see it. And now test value here, and then finally students.csv. Now, have we retrieved the step? Have we completed the step 2? Right? Everyone? Have we retrieved the step 2? Have we completed the step 2? Yes or no? Have you understand?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So let's go back to this. And then see the points. Mule event model, message, payload attributes, variables, error, file connector example, access mule event data in the file connector example. I think already we done this. And then a mule event contains the core information processed by the mule runtime. I think this is the same old discussion. I just copy pasted for recap purpose. Please go through this. And this is also we have discussed. I need to remove, update this variable. So now it comes to yesterday we completed till this point, poll file and move file. And then mule for event model variables. Variable stores the current event state for use by later event processors. Why we will use variables? Variables are used by developer to store something and use that stored value at later point of time. Create or update variable using the set variable component. So if you want to create a variable, you will use the set variable component. So provide the name of the variable and then provide the value that is going to store. If it is a normal string, it will store the normal string. If it is an expression, it will evaluate the expression and store the results. If you want to access the variable, you should use the syntax in the expression mode. Provide vars dot variable name. In the above example, we created a variable called myvar. Now I am trying to access that with the vars dot myvar. Now send the file name from HTTP request and read it from the mule process. So that is what we are going to do now. Read and write to a new file. Variables file read and write operation. Okay. So now we'll complete the rest of the example. So I'm deleting all extra stuff here. I'm deleting this dummy variable. I'm deleting this logger. And then I'm creating, I'm keeping, and even I'm deleting this. And now what I need to do now? What is our third step? Use file read operation. Use file read operation to read a file. So what is difference between on newer update and file read? I want to read a file. I used file read. I am adding logger at the end. At any point of time, keep a logger at the end so that you will know once your execution debug is done, your control moves here. Otherwise, if you keep this, any activity at the last, after the last activity, your debugger will not wait. If you keep read as a last, you can't see in the debugger mode what read returned, right? So read is an operation to read the file. So connector configuration, already I have something, choose it. And then what is the next one? File path. What should I give here? File path. In the file path, what should I give?
Vars.file.
You have to give in the last example in the file path for the move operation. What we have given?
Attributes that path.
Attributes dot path, which resulted to which resulted to which resulted to only path, only file name, or both?
Only path.
Only path. No file name in that.
Included file name also.
Included file name. Now file for file read, what we have to give? We have to give the file path and file name. So where is our file? We will use our in location to read the file. So this is my path. And where is my file name? Which file I am going to read? Where is my file name? Where is my file name? It is inside the vars dot file name. Now using these two, you should construct it. This was a string and this was a variable. So in the expression mode, what you have to do, you have to combine these two things. So as they are strings, we have to concatenate them. What is concatenating? Combining two strings is called concatenating. This is one string. When vars.file name is evaluated, this will become another string. How to concatenate these two? Just use the plus plus operator. Fine. And then after doing plus plus, just go and place that inside the file read and enable f of x. But everything is showing as this. So one small thing is in expression mode, a single backslash has a separate meaning. So you guys needs to keep two backslashes. Please go on mute. And even after the in, there should be a slash available. So here I am adding slash and then same thing I will apply. I will use two slashes, right? And then that's it. Done. Save the example. Go to the console. Is today Friday?
Yes, sir.
Month end. Nice. So make sure you will daily attend the classes. Not only attending, you have to must and should practice. I will tell you what is the best way you have to practice. I will tell you a best way to practice after two to 3 days. How you should get everything on your fingertips, so that whenever you got similar kind of example in your real time, how should you quickly remember what are the things we have discussed. So how to remember that or how to recollect that, I'll tell you a quick way to do that in the later classes. But as of now, try to do the practice regularly, right? And now
Sure, Kishore.
I'm going to send a request. Now request was out. Logger. So what is payload value? What's the payload value here? Once you receive the request, what is the payload value?
Fine.
What is the payload value? No value. Right? What are the attributes? Right? What are the attributes?
File path file name.
Attributes. HTTP request attributes. Right? You understand what I'm saying? When you receive a request from the listener, what is your payload value? Null. What are the attributes? Your attributes will contain related to your HTTP request attributes. Clear? And now logger, it's done its job. It printed the things fine. Set variable. created the variable, right? And now read. Try to see how read behaves. What is the path read saying? This path. So make sure you will copy this path and try to go to any of the notepad and try to open this path, open this file, any notepad, this or the other one. Do we have file? No. Or generally go to your notepad, default notepad, and then keep the file, open the file. What it says? File not found. There is no file exist in your inbound location, given location. Please go and place the file first of all. So let's go and place the file students.csv, and then this is my file, and then now try to open this. So what is my file name again? This is my file name. Now file exists, so that's fine. Now next. So now tell me, what are the attributes?
Local file attributes.
Before that,
HTTP attributes.
file read, payload value, attributes value. What happened to your attributes? What happened to your payload? Go back to mule message. What are the parts of mule message?
Attributes, payload,
Parts of mule message. What mule
attributes and
message represents? It will contain data related to your system and system, right? So what is mule message here? Your file data, and as well as what is that? As you receive the data from the file, your attributes refresh it to show the file related attributes. Previously, when it received the request from HTTP, your payload plus attributes, it's called mule message, is representing related to HTTP. Then that is done. Now you got file read. Now your file read will have payload will be your file data, and attributes will be what? Your file related attributes. Suppose instead of file, if I read the database or JMS, what will be the values here? So in the process, when you invoke any of the connector, or any of the external system through a connector, then after executing that, it will directly impact on your mule message. It will change your payload, and as well as it will change your attributes depending on the operation. What file read will do? Will it read the content or write the content? It will read the content, so that it will get the data from the file. So you are pulling the data from the file to your mule, so your mule should show the data that you have read. So that is how your mule message is reflecting with the payload. This is the data. It is you know this is the data. It is loaded from the file, and the file related content is this. Right, now you guys are clear?
yes, Kishore.
What is difference between file read and on your update? What is difference between file read and on your update? When you will use file read, when you will read file on your update? Okay, the old example, this guy is also working, because these two are different flows are available in two different files. So I'm not working on this guy. So what I'll do is, if you click on the file flow name, you will have an option for initial state. I will ask this flow to stop for some time. Don't disturb me for some time, so that it will not pick the file. On newer update file, what is doing on newer update file? A newer update file, you'll continuously go and check for the file in the inbound location. Correct? So it is checking for the newer file in the inbound location, and then why this move operation is continuously triggering up. Fine. This time it will not trigger and after my application restart. Right? You understand why this program is executed? This is yesterday's program. I created my program in the same application and I ran it so that this flow is also running, and this flow is trying to read the file, any file, poll for a file in the given location. If the file exists, it will read and move into a different location. So time being, what I'm saying, please don't get disturb my flow, and then I am making this flow as stop and come back. So now file read also reading the contents of the file. On your update is also reading the contents of the file. What is the difference between on your update and file read? What are the things you observed? What are the things you observed? What are the similarities? Anyone? Didn't observe anything?
Both works the same way.
Both works in the same way. Nice.
It will
Any
going
difference you
to the
observed? So similarity is, what is the both works in the same way? What it will do?
going into inbound location and reading the file.
Just reading the file is a similar thing. Reading the content of the file. What is difference? Is there any
Sch-
difference that you observed in the place?
yes, new or update file scheduling the intervals.
Scheduling the intervals, and your newer update is your event source. Right? This is event source. What is event source means? What is event source means? It will, with that program, it will start execution of the program. If you want to start your application by reading a file, then you will go for on your update. Whereas if you want to start your process by some other listener, some other process, and in mid of the process, if you want to go and read a file, then you will use file read. Is it clear, everyone? Yes, no?
Yes, Krishna.
Is it clear for everyone?
Can you repeat, sir? Once more?
So the point is, when you want how your mule flow starts. Once my flow starts by reading a file, then you will go for on your update. If you have a business requirement, once the file data is read, then only you have to start the process. Then you will go for on your update. My process will start with something else, and at some point of time in the middle of the process, I want to go and read the file. Then you will use the file read operation. That's it. You are doing with the start, then on your update. After starting in between the process at some point of time, then you will use file read. Clear, everyone?
Yes, Krishna.
right? And I want to add one more. Okay, time being, let it be. So the last thing I want to do now. So whatever the content I read, I want to write into a different file. So now I'm using, yesterday what folders we have used? First yesterday we have used archive, and now I want to use out. I want to write something. So now what I want to do? I want to do write. So what is the operation I have to use to write the data? Right? File write, and then I want to add a logger at the end so that in the debugger it will help me to show after write. So what file write will take? What file write will take? Where you want me to write the data. So in the out folder, I want to write dot txt, right? And then what is the content I want to write? This is my file content. I want to write, some static text inside that. This is my file content. Create parent directories true, write mode, overwrite, append, create new. So it will create a new file. It will append into an existing file, and it will override even if the file exists. Are you clear with the options? I have provided path. Wherever you see path, it should be a combination of file name and file path. Okay. And then this is my content of the file. So simple thing I am using, and then I am going to save my application. I want to save my application. Now my application is saved, and then started. Point here. I'll send the request. Switch the perspective. Now I don't want to execute each and everything manually. I want to directly jump from this breakpoint to this breakpoint. How should I do? How should I do?
Remove the breakpoint in the first logger.
What should I do?
Remove the breakpoint in first logger.
Remove the breakpoint from the first layer. Yeah, that's a nice answer. I'm not expecting that. Point. Now I want to jump it. How to move to next processor? How will move the debugger control? Which option I should use? This red button. X plus Y. Or
No,
this
Kishore.
one, next processor. We'll use next processor, right? To move to the next event processor. Suppose if you want to either complete the flow or go to the next breakpoint, then you will use this resume button. Okay. And now move to the next processor. File read is done. Now what I'm going to do? I'm going to do write. I'm writing the content of the file. Then file write. So is it successful? Yes, there is no error means the control move to the next event processor means it was successful. So file out. what is the content of the file? Let me enable the preview. When I select this, in the preview it will show this is my file content. Now I am able to write the file content. Now what I want to do is, I don't want to write any static text, any dummy text. I want to write whatever the data I read from the file. How should I write that? How should I write that? Anyone?
From the payload.
From the payload. Everyone following? Ashok,
Yes.
Next, please.
Mallikarjun, Nagraj. Nagraj, you joined from two different places or what? Raghunath and Ranga.
Yes.
So, where is your data after the file read? Where is your data?
Payload.
It is in the
Payload.
payload. Now, when I am writing it, where should I mention what data I should write?
In content section.
In the content.
FX payload.
So now if I write payload like this, will it work? It will not
No.
work.
FX.
You have to
Yeah,
enable
expression.
f of x, so that this f of x will get evaluated. What is the value available in the payload? This value will be written into your file. I am leaving it. I am saving all, and then let me wait for my application to start. My application started, and now I'll remove this breakpoint. I'll keep it here, add breakpoint, and then I'll send the request. Now, if I want to jump to directly to write, what should I use? Resume. Directly control comes here and stops. You don't need to step on each and everything. And now finally, do you have file out? Let me delete this out and then execute my write. File write executed successfully, and then this is what? Your file content. And the last part of it, I am writing whatever the file content I have received, but I want my file name to be as is of my file read. So whatever the file read, I want to use the same file name for my write file as well. What should I do? What should I do?
Read file and write file should be the same name.
Whatever the file I have read, I want to use that the name of the file, and I want to use that file name as a write file as well. For the write file, time being I am using fileout.txt. I want to use the file name, whatever the file I am reading. How should I use it?
The path will take
Attributes.params. Attributes.query params.
Attributes.query params. Another
Dot
one,
file name. Yeah. Or variables we can create.
attributes.query params dot file name. This is one way. Forget about attributes. You are reading from the file read. Only file read related things I want to use. How should I
variables.
get?
The set variable.
Set variable also you get from the query parameters. I don't want from the query parameters. Though the value is same, my intention is whatever the file I have read, I want to use the same name of the file. Same file name for my write. How should I get? What happens after the read to your mule message?
Payload.
Payload and And what else? The mule event, mule message.
Attributes.
You have your attributes. So in the attributes, do you have anything which shows your file name?
File name.
How should I retrieve
Yeah.
this?
Attributes.
Attributes.file name.
File name.
Attributes dot file name and n capital. Got the file name? Now what I have to do this? What I have to do? In the right, go to right. In the path, what should I do here? Already we did in the file read.
Plus.
You have to first
Concatenate.
enable
Concatenate.
this as a string and then concatenate and provide the expression and enable the expression mode. Is that enough?
We can change the slash.
Slashes.
Single slash to double slashes
Double
so
slash.
that it will override the existing meaning of single slash. It has something meaning of divided by. Single slash will expect. So see here, when I add two slashes, your attributes.file name color is changing until I completed all the things. Otherwise, it was with the green color. Save it out. Let the application start. Restart. Started. And now I'm removing this out, or let it be. Don't disturb my flow. And send the request. Logger stopped. Right. What is my attributes.file name? It's students.csv. And then file write. It's students.csv. Now in the in location, excuse me. In the in location, I want to create a new file, students hyphen, this time 1.csv. Okay. Students hyphen 1.csv, enter, and then this time you are sending the request with students hyphen in.csv. Is your file read happening? Yes. What are the properties attributes? Students hyphen 1.csv is my file name, and then I'm writing my write was completed. Then I have written out and then students hyphen 1.csv. With this, we have completed your mule event model, and as well as we have completed your file read and write operations and your file connector as well. And as it's the first week for your sessions, we'll take off on Saturday and Sunday, and we'll come back with Monday. We'll start with the transform and metadata. Generally, I used to cover this in the fifth day of the session, but somehow it was not happened. That's fine. Well, we'll cover it in the long run. We have many days to go. So we'll cover this metadata data sensing and then transform message event processor in the next session. What we will do in the next session is, now what are you writing? What are you reading and writing? Your read and write are performing on the same data. What I will do in the next example is, we will write or we will write the data. We will read this data, and when we are writing read And when we are writing, we'll just modify some part of the data. Instead of marks, I will write total marks. So 10 plus 20 will become 30. So how would we perform this? You are not write integrations to send the data whatever you have received as is. If you are trying to send the same data, why you need middleware? Directly they will write the file into that location, right? So if you want to perform some changes, yes, we have to perform the changes in the Mule in the integrations. That change we will do that. So that is nothing but your transform activity. So you are new to Mule and you don't know how to write the code to perform this. So for that the reason we will use mapper, we'll use mapping, and we will use metadata section for this. Okay, that we will cover on the Monday. So take break for tomorrow and day after tomorrow. We will connect on. We'll connect on Monday. Come back by refreshing and revisioning all the stuff. Those who want materials and all, just coordinate with the Girish or Alekia. They will let you know the process. Okay. So if you have any friends, do refer. And I'll upload this video as well. So please go through that video and do practice. And you need practice doc. I'll show you that practice doc. So read and write the file, mule event, mule variable. In the file read project, drag drop. We have two examples. Yeah, capture this out. Okay. Capture this out. This is for the read file. Copied. Take a screen capture. I'm moving to the next point. Done. Done, everyone. Go to the next one. This is file read. So I think this is done almost. You can capture from here. Open the file read project. Done, everyone. So do practice, do revision. Make sure you are comfortable with all the examples at any point of time, even in the sleep. If you woke up, if you ask to perform some example, you should be in a position to complete that example without seeing. You should get that much comfortable level, right? Then only you can easily clear the interviews. Those who are planning to attend the interviews and get the job, and those who already get the job, you have to be that much confident enough to complete your work. Okay, so please make sure you will follow the practice regularly.